Hi, welcome to our next 08 On. Today we're going to be talking about CRO, conversion rate optimization. I am joined by Seth, founder and CEO of 08, and Corey. He is our VP of Digital Strategy here at 08. So first and foremost, I thought we could start with a brief overview. What is CRO? Why is it important?
Yeah, so CRO stands for Conversion Rate Optimization, and it's the process of optimizing your website or landing pages based on visitor behavior to help improve desired actions or conversions on that said page.
Yeah, and I'll just add that there's this thing called the power law, the CRO power law. And so for one, it gets you more customers. That's pretty simple, by increasing your conversions. Your profit is sensitive to your conversion rate. So once you improve your conversion rate, your profit, can increase exponentially. You've got this chunk of investment that's for CRO, but once those revenues increase, they might even double based on the results. Well, that chunk is steady, so your profit is just widening at much higher levels. And then, given that you're getting more profit, you can reinvest that into ad traffic. So that opens up another flood of traffic, which then hits those optimized pages and further expands your profit. And then, you combine those three effects and you've really got a multiplicative exponential growth pattern. And that's why, Amazon is where they are today, because they've just tested and tested and tested for the last who knows how many years. They really were foundational in creating the field of CRO by how they run their business.
Yeah, and who doesn't want to become the next Amazon, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
All right. So how do you calculate your conversion rate?
So to calculate, you need two numbers: the number of visitors and the number of those who take action or convert. Your conversion rate is expressed as a percentage. So if you have 10,000 visitors and 500 take action, your conversion rate is 500 over 10,000, or 5%.
So what's considered a good conversion rate?
Well, I mean, it varies by industry to industry. Also varies by what you're converting. So it really depends on each specific use case.
Yeah, and I would say, of course, a better conversion rate than you had last quarter is good. And, it's about continuous optimization, continuous improvement. When you look at landing pages, of course, it really varies by the awareness or consideration or decision-making cycle that the traffic is in. There's so many variables. So that's a hard question to answer, but with that, our goal is to always improve so that it drives revenues and it drives, all these exponential growth factors.
Well, what testing methods can I use to improve that growth and learn from it?
Yeah, so, there's A/B testing, multivariate testing, UX testing, all these different ways. But the goal is basically to get data, and try a version that's better than the previous one, and then confirm that through statistical validation. So an A/B test, got a home page, and A is the current one and B is the changed one that we think will increase conversions. So let's split traffic between the two. And if the statistics, the hard numbers say that B is better, no matter anyone's feelings or whatever, you might think, sometimes traffic and the statistics and the hard numbers really surprise you. So if B is better, then we go with B. And then next time we try C. There's a certain amount of testing that is just not valuable. Actually, it's a really frequent thing if you're not skilled in CRO. There's a lot of testing of button colors or the titles on the buttons, which can make a difference if you have a huge amount of traffic. but really what we're focusing on is changing customer behavior and changing colors on the button, or these little things can end up in frankly what we call garbage testing. It's just low value, and you're spending company resources on tests that are not having the CRO power law effect. You're not driving revenues, you're not getting this exponential growth that you should be getting if you're doing the right kinds of testing. And so that means the tests need to be a bit more innovative than just changing this little title or changing this little button or color. Sometimes given all these parameters, we need to think bigger, and those bigger ideas are what gets you actual significant growth.
So how do you know if your testing is set up correctly? How long should it be running? Things like that.
Yeah, well, there is definitely a window, and there's some statistics behind it where if you run a test for too long, it can actually become invalid. If the same traffic is hitting the site over and over, and people's cookies clear. There's a lot of complex information about that, but without getting into the details, any good testing platform will tell you, how long should you run the test given your traffic. Or a skilled agency can tell you these things as well.
And how do you know if it's time to stop testing? Maybe it's just broken. It's just not working. When do you know if the needle can't move anymore?
Yeah, so we call that local maximum in CRO terminology. You've tested, you've optimized along the way, and then something about the architecture or just the overall system you're dealing with, whether it's the website or your MarTech stack or whatever it is, it just makes sense to start over, reinvest in a redesign. You of course take that data and apply it to the redesign. Don't start completely from a blank slate, but you can reach a local maximum with your website or a component, a page or a homepage, whatever it is. You can reach a stopping point.
Right, and I love that you mentioned that data it's unbiased. It's sort of human opinion, and it's just facts, so you kind of know where to move from there.
Yeah.
So you mentioned that any good platform can really advise you on best practices, length of, duration of the testing, things like that. So what are the best tools available to begin working on CRO and learning about it myself?
I can mention a few tools. I mean, at O8, we're a very technical agency, and we love our technology. So when it comes to observing like user behavior, we use tools like Hotjar and Crazy Egg to develop heat maps and also to record their behavior and collect that data.
We're pretty tool agnostic. We've used a lot of different tools, and we can recommend based on your budget. There's some free tools, Google Optimize, all the way to Optimizely, which can do personalization, A/B testing, and tons of very fancy things. There's intent-based pop-ups and reactions. It can get very complex. But the goal is to just start out with a few tests, to just do it, and then improve as you go along. Test more and more each day.
So it sounds like there are a lot of tools out there, potentially even free tools, that I could use. Is there a true benefit to having an agency partner to handle these tools on their side, or what's the benefit of bringing in somebody like O8?
Say by leveraging the right agency partner, I mean you're getting an unbiased, fresh perspective, someone that can break down the data into a digestible format. The stuff can get highly technical and overwhelming. So bringing in that right partner, they should have a solid process in place for achieving those results.
Absolutely, and what we've seen is a company tries to do this in-house. Someone who does not have the CRO training and background will do this kind of low value testing, and you're wasting time that could be put towards exponential growth, testing these very low value things that, you know, it seems like the person is doing work, but they're actually not moving the needle at all or very insignificantly. And sometimes if they don't wait for statistical significance, you'll actually see, you know, tests that harm you, you know, without the quite right understanding of statistical significance and how these tests actually work at a deep level.
That makes sense. Well, cool. Thanks, guys. It sounds like every business should be focusing on CRO, especially during times, you know, where everything's moving digital. So I think this was great, going to be super helpful to some people, and appreciate you coming on.